Huber.
Yo.
So, yeah, when I went out to 11-bit in Warsaw, I was there to play the altars. Like I said, we had that preview, played that for a day and a half.
Hell yeah.
That last half day, what we played 2 games, Moonlighter 2 and Death Howl. And actually, Death Howl was like, you could actually play that at any time. They just had it in like another room in like a Steam Deck.
Got it.
You just sit down and play. But I'll start with Moonlighter 2 because it's been forever, like since the first game came out.
Yeah, it has been a long while now.
Yeah, and it's and as you can kind of see from the footage if you're watching, is the like they've moved to like being fully 3D. Before it was like all sprite based and all of that, and so it's like a whole thing to like kind of like translate that mood and that feel to like a new 3D style and everything.
Yeah.
And I feel like Moonlighter was one of the first like ones when like roguelikes were really starting to hit, right?
Yeah, they were starting to hit for sure.
Yeah. And so it's interesting to see like coming in with a sequel, like what are they going to do different? How are they going to change
So
things
funny
and
because
stuff?
people start copying when things are like inspired by a game and then like then that game makes another one and they're inspired by the competition that has been inspired by them. It's like this weird circle for sure.
Yeah. And it's also a little tricky for me because like I'm sure I played some Moonlighter, but it's been like so little and so long ago that like I don't have a lot of concrete memories.
I put a lot of time into it when it was out, but I remember I got hung up on the management side of it.
Yeah.
It just timing.
Right.
Didn't have the timing and the patience for that element of it at that time, but I love the game.
Yeah, so I'm gonna start because of the way the stuff that I'm showing you right now is split up. Is we've got the dungeon side and then the shopkeep side. So I'll start with the dungeon side. So so you've got the roll. It's like kind of a big thing, and it's on the shoulder button, which I think is one thing that was throwing us off a little bit. So maybe a remap option there could be helpful because like a lot of people are used to using like square or circle to dodge.
We love a circle dodge.
Shoulder with a analog trigger is a little trickier. But yeah, some of the mechanics in here, like there were like you could get guys into this like purple state and then like knock them into other guys or knock them off the stage. And the way that purple state comes up kind of varies enemy to enemy. With the little guys that were like would rush you if you got them to rush into a wall, then they would, basically be dazed, and then you could thwack them at somebody else.
Yeah.
And then sort of Hades, like when you're going
choose your path to the next
zone. Yeah, you get to choose like, okay, do you want the side with more treasures, or do you want the side with more like buffs and perks and things like that? You also have a gun, which is the green blips down there. That's the number of shots that you have with your gun.
Great.
So you can get the guys that are like getting you from the balconies or whatever. You can shoot back at them. And then your ammo recharges when you hit people with melee shots.
Great.
So nice little coordination there. And then of course you get the freaking bombs and stuff. Guys chucking bombs at you is just
insane.
Such a pain in the butt.
Yeah. Range filth. On display.
Yeah. And then, so you get the treasures or perks. This is one of the things that's really kind of interesting. You saw a little bit of it in there. So when you're out there doing these dungeons, it's not that you're just doing a dungeon run, right? You are there to collect treasures
get the loot to sell
for
it.
the shop when you go back. So they've done a lot of crazy stuff with the bag and with like how the treasures interact and stuff in your bag. And so I think that there was a thing before where like some treasures could cause other treasures to burn, right? Now there's like these kind of like stacking mechanics to where it's like,
great.
Okay, when you put this in your bag, like the thing next to it and the thing above it in the rows will burn. But some things like you want to burn because when something burns, then this other treasure will gain additional value.
That's fun.
So there's actually just like pieces like there's like pieces of firewood that's only worth like 1 gold or whatever because that's made to burn. So if you have something in there that will increase value when something else is burned, then you burn that firewood. You basically lost nothing, and now this other thing has gone up by like $100 of value. And there's lots of little things like that, and figuring out like when to trigger those is important because like a lot of those.
Yeah, quite a lot of management in the first game. I imagine that'll be the case here as well.
Yeah. No, I think it's more actually.
Yeah.
Because like with that burn trigger, like once that's triggered, that's it. Like now you've triggered it, you don't get to trigger it a second time or whatever. Now that will probably change for different treasures or whatever. They'll have different perks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I was finding it brutally difficult personally.
Yeah, it's a tough game.
Yeah, like I went down quite a few times.
Definitely.
And when you go down, you have a choice. You can either restart the dungeon straight up, lose everything you've collected, and just like, okay, I just want to give it another run. Or you can walk out, but when you walk out, everything's value is cut in half.
Jeez.
So you really gotta like sort.
Is there a way to stop before you die?
Yeah, I think there is.
Like
you can actually like say like, all right, I'm good.
My bag's full. I'm out.
Get out of here. Yeah.
Cool.
So Huber, at the
shop, dude.
You get in there and so.
Blood, I just gotta say again, on paper, this game is like my friggin' dream. By the way, I'm like bummed.
Economies.
Yeah, I know. It is shops and economies and roguelite elements. Like I love everything about this. And it's making me want to go revisit the first one. Honestly, it just came out at a busy, rough time in my life.
One of the guys that I met there is his name is Mike, and he writes for Windows Central.
Great.
And he loves Moonlighter, and like he was super impressed with this. Like he was saying like he actually would not recommend people go back.
There you go.
Because this one's so much better.
This one, okay.
So now with the shop mechanics, it's crazy. So you set up, your items out there, and you wait for customers to come in. But now there's all of this other stuff happening in the shop. So it's like you'll get like little, I think they call them like disasters or whatever. Like something will be going wrong in the display, and you've got to like fix it. Or like somebody that walks in will like a bunch of dirt will fall off of them, and so you got to sweep up the dirt.
Yeah.
But then
Sounds like Dave the Diver a little bit.
You also have these, when you go up and negotiate with people, you have boosts and charms. And so like if you apply a boost, it increases the value by a set amount. If you apply a charm, it increases it by a set percentage. So based on the original value. But then you also get kind of like, again, like this little thing on your desk that'll pop up that'll give you all these other like roguelike kind of perks towards like, okay, when this is happening, then if you have X number of boosts, you'll get this kind of, extra charm advantage. And there's like all of these other little numbers and things going on.
It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot for sure.
And you can raise the price, and then the guy will be like, no, I don't want to pay that price. And you have all these customers coming in, and you've got to take the time to go up to them and, talk to them, and then still keep the place clean, and then put an item on the next pedestal after somebody's taken it. So there's a lot there. Go ahead. I didn't get to put a whole lot of time into it, but it definitely feels like there's definitely a lot of room to dive into. And as you can see on the screen, like the first goal that they have for you is like make 5,000 cash in a single day. So you can give it a couple of attempts and like still not get there, take you a little bit of time to just really like dig into all the different systems and stuff.
What do we use the gold for, Bloodworth?
Good. To pay the rent for one. There's a whole story here thing. You've got like this landlord, because they were all, they talked about the story. Like, Mrs. Scratch is the landlord.
Scratch, dude. Alan Wake over here. Scratch.
Yeah, because some interdimensional guy kicked them out of their last
Alan Wake
town, and so like they're like refugees on this like completely foreign world, and there's like the blob sea, this like bubbling green coastline all around them and stuff like that. And so so like one of your ultimate goals is to basically like find your way back home, I guess. So
crazy.
Yeah. So interesting stuff. Definitely keep an eye out. And we had like a truncated amount of time to play both of these games, so definitely look at like some other people's impressions because they probably
overlap for sure.
Got into other aspects of this game and stuff as well. And I think that's about all I got here.
Looks promising, bud.
Yeah, for this.
It's always one of those games. Again, I played Moonlighter 1 just a bit,
yeah.
And it's always one that I've wanted to revisit. I always look back at it. I'm like, dude, like, I feel like I should be addicted and obsessed to this game, like the way I am with like a Darkest Dungeon or a Rogue Legacy. But 2, here it comes.
Yeah.
Another shot, dude. Another chance.
Yeah.
I'm gonna dive in, blood.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
I think in the dungeon stuff, like there's still some room to like tighten up the dodges and stuff like that. Like I said, it felt tough, especially with that trigger thing. But we'll see where they get. All right, next up is Death Howl, which I unfortunately got to play even less of because basically what had happened was like we had played Altars for half the day in the morning, and then we had lunch, and then we had like a presentation session that went like a little bit long.
Yeah.
And then we had like just like a little bit left of time to play Moonlighter 2 and Death Howl. But Death Howl is
right when these cards got dealt blood, my interest peaked.
Yeah. So this is a not a roguelike deck builder, a Souls-like deck builder.
Souls-like deck builder. There you go.
Yeah.
I like it.
Which apparently I think was not even 100% the intention of the team. It was, but when they showed it to the publisher, it was like, this is kind of Souls-like.
Oh my gosh.
But anyways, I really love the art style in this.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Just very like not quite flat colors, but like there's a very distinct visual style to it.
Yeah.
That feels like an old PC game. And the story in this is intense.
I bet.
I know, like you're saying Isla.
This looks like an Isla game.
Yeah. So just 6,000 BC for one. And so there's like all this kind of like shamanistic kind of visuals and art
BC,
design.
Dude.
And so like you're this woman whose son has died.
Whoa.
Like in her arms. And you are going into the spirit realm to like bring him back. And like even when you get in the spirit realm, you like see him for a moment, but he like turns into like this this deer. Whoa. And like this stag goes off with him into the spirit realm, and then you follow. So yeah, but it's still like very, very high level. I didn't get too deep into mechanics, but basically you explore the environment. And then when you come across like an enemy, then there will be like a grid-based battle that pops up, and then
combat looks fun, dude.
So you've got like 5 little pips there for like what you can do on your turn. The pips are used for both movement and for your card costs.
Yeah.
So different cards cost different amounts, but the cards they really interact with each other in really nice ways.
Synergy.
Yeah, so
Magic, the Gathering.
Like there's one in the very opening section where like you can throw a rock. You can throw a rock at a guy from a distance.
Classic.
But when you throw that rock, now you got to discard something else. So you have fewer cards to work with. But some of those cards will have things that they do when you discard. So it's like, okay,
Love that.
So if you use a shield card, you'll get 2 shield. If you discard it, you'll still get 1 shield.
Oh, okay.
But then there are other things that are more advantageous. So like the sprint card, ordinarily that basically lets you move twice as much distance as you would if you just moved on the grid.
But the next turn.
But if you discard it, you actually get to draw another card. And add to your hand for that turn.
Really fun, dude.
So fun little things like that.
Yeah, blood. Seriously, this looks fantastic.
And then the enemies, like again, you're fighting like a lot of like stuff in the woods.
Fighting a giant tree here.
Fighting boars and crows and what else would I fight? There's like an owl that could do like some crazy thing from a distance. like a status effect kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But when you kill an enemy, you get basically a soul, but they call it a Death Howl.
Mm-hmm. Hey, that's the name of the game.
Yeah. And then after the battle, and then sometimes even when you're just exploring, there will also be like artifacts. So like the pig's snout from the boar, or a feather from the crow, or like sticks or rocks or whatever. And so to make new cards, you need both a number of souls, which will vary depending on the card, and then the ingredients. So you got to combine these things. So you need like a stick and a snout and 2 souls to make this new card. And then, okay, now you can like shoot a bow and arrow at a guy and, you know, do more damage from a greater distance.
Awesome.
And the deck's not super huge. There's a minimum of 12 cards and then a maximum of 20.
In your deck.
Yeah, in a deck at a
How
time.
many are there total though that you can make your deck with?
I mean, I don't.
Okay,
I'm
okay.
sure there's probably tons and tons of cards.
Yeah. Cool.
And then the
12 to 20 though, it's a good deck size, dude. I like that.
yeah,
I really like that.
and then where the souls like part comes in is that you'll find these like groups. There's like 4 stone pillars, and when you come to them, that's how you can heal. So like if you're 3 at 20, then you can go back up to full health. But then like a Souls game, the enemy
Respawn.
combat stuff respawns as well too. So you kind of have to like work your way through and kind of figure out, it's like, okay, there's clearly some tougher enemies up here, but you wander around and it's like a huge map too. Like they showed us like this open world map, and there's a lot of distance to go. And then there's also, I think you have to like, one of the things that they showed is like you have to like hunt down like these
down
like major bosses or spirits or whatever that are out there, and ask them, you know, for their favor to try to like bring your son back to life.
Yeah.
Which I'm guessing is also going to be for giant boss fights.
Definitely.
But yeah, so
Looks awesome to me, man.
Like I said, I only got a very little brief glimpse of it in the demo.
Yeah.
But it looks cool.
It does look cool.
And they've got some really nice aesthetics there.
I really like what I'm seeing, Blood.
They also had, I think it was just for the trailer, but they had this like band called Dark Her. And they actually had them play live
Okay.
at the event.
Sweet.
So that was cool too. So
Yeah.
check that out.
Heck yeah.
There you go.
Death Howl, dude, I'm in.
Yeah. 11-bit's doing cool stuff. Really enjoyed my time out there with them and seeing all this. So these two, Moonlighter 2 and Death Howl, are both on the external side.
Mm-hmm.
The Altars is their studio actually making it.
Yeah.
But yeah, cool stuff.
Heck yeah.
So if you like this stuff, like these previews, check out, we put up a bunch of other previews last week, including that Altars preview, including Eliza P preview for the DLC. So go and check all of that out, and check out our weekly podcast. And if you like all of what you see, go to patreon.com/easyallies to support us and keep it all rolling. Thanks.